Modern Mystic Messages. I'm trying to wait a moment to see if anyone comes in here before we get started. But I do, if you're watching this in the replay or whether you're coming in, I definitely want to take a moment to welcome you to my very first live. So bear with me a moment. It may not be as smooth as we want it to be here because I'm trying to figure out a couple of things here. Let me see. I tell you what, let me do it this way. Wait a second. Yeah. Okay, I can't. Yeah. Anyway, in any event, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm excited today because, well, today is special for me because today I woke up this morning and the channel has reached 500 subscribers. I think we're at 508 right now. So I am super excited for that. And I want to thank each and every one of the subscribers that helped me get to that goal. And of course, we're moving on towards the 1,000, but that is a huge milestone for me. So I definitely wanted to come online, take a moment and say thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Um, yeah. It's I mean, I know there's a lot of ways that people say that they can grow the channel, but I've been kind of doing it organically as I go because for a long time I had a lot of healing and growth of my own to do and wasn't quite sure the direction the channel was going to take. And then when I even once I got clear on the direction the channel needed to take, how to go about it was another issue as well. And it looks like we've got somebody coming in here. Hello, Nandu. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me here. Um, like I said, I'm actually this is my very first live, and oh, thank you. And Zara Frozen, I'm not getting into the politics of that. People probably won't like my answer, but it has nothing to do with earthly politics. It's just a spiritual issue that I just don't really want to jump into too much. Hi, Valtrax. Hi, Pamex Gamers. Hi. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all coming in here. This is my very first live. Hi, Death Ginger. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to go about handling the live streams. And truthfully, I'm for sure if this is a good time and space for everyone here. Sundays, I have no issue with. As far as making this be a regular thing coming in, probably I would aim for a little earlier in the day than now, but I definitely want to start coming on live a little more because I do want to be able to reach more of an audience. If you're not currently subscribed to my channel, I highly encourage you to go and check out the content there. We do a mixture of things on this channel. I am a tarot reader. I'm an empath and a spiritual healer and teacher. And as such, we've actually been starting to go through a lot of the older spiritual texts. So I definitely have been enjoying that lately. We recently we've gone through the Lost Book of Enki, and then right now we went through the Emerald Tablets of Thoth just as a read through, and now we're going through and back through it, looking along with Billy Carson's Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, and that has been so mind blowing for me. And truthfully, that was part of why I wanted to come on today too, because my latest look through, I think this is my third or fourth time going through the Emerald Tablets, but I also have been driven lately to look at the scriptures in a different way now that I'm kind of seeing and understanding things differently. And one of the things that has recently come to my attention has me so excited. I went to bed thinking about it last night. And thank you, Death Ginger. I definitely hope you like what you see and give it a chance to give the channel the information a chance. I highly recommend going back a few months and looking at the Resurrection Day message. There's that. There's also a recorded message about what everyone, I think it's something what every Christian, Jew, and Muslim should see. I highly recommend listening to that. Hi, Alina. How are you? I'm new here too. Like I said, this is my first live, so thank you for joining me here today. I didn't know if anybody was going to show up, so I am thrilled. Um, and I'm more than willing to answer any questions here. But one of the things that has me kind of in a quandary in the past few weeks, as we went through the Emerald tablets, of course, if you've never gone through them, I highly recommend you do so. And like I said, that content is on the channel as well. We take them tablet by tablet in the read through, and right now is a good time to jump in because we're going back through the Emerald tablet, the compendium of the Emerald tablets, which breaks it down section by section so that you can kind of think about it. If you just listen to or read the tablets by themselves, it's very easy to get caught up in the rhythm of the poetry. Even as I'm reading it, it literally pulls you into the cadence of the poetry. And if you don't stop to think about it, then it can put you in an interesting, you can miss some things. I mean, you're going to get something new out of them every time you go through anyway. But this latest one is going to blow your mind. It's going to knock your socks off. And thank you for the likes there. I appreciate that. So y'all say helping me get into this algorithm thing after this new, the live stream thing is new to me. But the thing that I wanted to talk about that had me kind of in an interesting headspace, it is said that Thoth, well, Hermes Trismegistus, if you're familiar, is said to be the thrice born. That was what he was called, the thrice born. And it is said that Hermes and Thoth are the same being. And I believe that, I accept it because the Emerald tablets of Thoth are like 15 separate tablets, and it's like 100 pages of reading and all of that. But he breaks it down. Hermes Trismegistus had hit one Emerald tablet with like 14 points on it. However, my question was, if Hermes was the thrice born, who was the second born? And y'all, I really, truly believe in my deepest heart of hearts that I found the answer to that. And it's been right in front of us the whole time. I even discussed it. If you'll go back on the channel here, there's a video from a few months ago that talks about John chapter 1, verse 1 and John chapter 3, verse 16. And I discussed it in depth there from my understanding at that time. But as I started going through the Emerald tablets, something else came to my attention that I think I missed the first go around. So I definitely want to share it with you now. And again, we're going to continue on with the Emerald tablets today. Um, yeah. Let me see. Is there nobody left in here? Oh, that's okay. I'm going to continue anyway because my information, like I said, I'm hoping that my regular subscribers will go ahead and find it as well. And I am going to pull some cards later. I do know and understand that, people probably came in because of the pull of tarot, and that's all well and good. But this information, I think, is even more important than a tarot reading because we've been missing something. Hermes or Thoth, there are a lot of people out in the spiritual community that are channeling Thoth right now, and there's a lot of wisdom of Thoth, and people are into the Emerald tablets of Thoth. But a lot of folks don't realize when they're reading the scriptures, reading the Bible, that Yeshua is also very often quoting directly from the Emerald Tablets, as well as quoting from the Lost Book of Enki. And hi, Ethereal Moonlight. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing today? It's good to see you here. I was just discussing what has me kind of excited over the past few days because we were on the channel on my regular videos. We've been going into the compendium of the Emerald Tablets, and it gave me some food for thought because part of, I think in chapter 2 or 3, Billy Carson had suggested that he felt like perhaps Jesus, Yeshua, could be either um, a reincarnation of Thoth or the son of Thoth. And when he first said that, I took exception to it. I was like, oh, I don't know about that, how I feel about that. I was like, maybe, I thought, because my earlier understanding, I felt like perhaps Yeshua was a son of Enki, because in the scriptures, there are a couple of occasions where the smoke comes and the fire comes at his baptism, at the transfiguration, and all that, where the voice from heaven, the voice of the Lord says, "This is my son, the beloved, whom I have approved. Listen to him." So I understood immediately from once I got to a point where I understood that Elohim in the Bible is plural. I'm no longer confused or thinking that that refers to Yahweh, so it would have to be Yeshua that it was referring to. This is my son, the beloved, whom I have approved. However, if we look further into the scriptures, one of the things in Genesis, in the Gospel of John, in chapter 1, verse 1, it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things that were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made." And that scripture has tripped me up for a very long time. I mean, even as a child, I'm like, what does that mean? But if you actually considered it in light of this current information and look at the two side by side, it makes perfect sense. If Yeshua was the second born, if Hermes Trismegistus is the thrice born, he came onto the planet, they're saying around 500 AD. But Yeshua HaMashiach, if he were the second born, which like I said, in my opinion, I believe he is, but if he were the second born, then that would make a lot of sense, because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, if again, according to the translations, if we actually look at what the translation really would have been, it would be, in the beginning was the Elohim, the mighty ones, and the Elohim was with the Elohim, and the Elohim was Elohim. And if that were the case, that would be a very solid argument for considering the fact that Yeshua HaMashiach could very well indeed be the second reincarnation of Thoth. When we look at the Emerald Tablets, Thoth was on the planet ruling. He came to visit the children of the children of Chem. He ruled in Egypt for 36,000 years as Thoth the Atlantean. And then he left Egypt and went over into the Mayan and Peruvian lands and ruled there for quite a few thousand years, as well as Quetzalcoatl and Kukulkan. And then, according to the Emerald Tablets, he went put the gateway to the halls of Amenti underneath the pyramids, and he left the children of Chem. But he goes on in the Emerald Tablets to say during that time that he has gone through 10 cycles of regeneration, because he was saying how He went and met with the dweller, and he met the 30 and the 2 and 30. And that's something else, y'all, that really, really had me stopping to think about it, because who are the 32 that are in the halls of Amenti? In the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, it describes him going down to meet with the dweller. He's liberated from death. Death shows him the flames of life of all the millions of people, the children of God, or the children, the sons of men, sorry, the children of men. Death shows him all of those flames, while at the same time he's releasing Thoth from the necessary to bear that flame. He has been able to lift the veil of death surrounding his life flame, and they're telling him that he's free to come and go at will. And he says he wants to continue on, and he wants to help the children of men to be able to continue to expand their consciousness so that they can be liberated from it as well. And then he goes into the stasis, into the Aguanti, into that non-manifested state, and then he visits these other personages. But he also says that there are 2 and 30 of the children of light who remain in the halls of Amenti, seeing to humankind's consciousness. They're neither dead nor alive. They're in between, in this stasis state in their minds, in their Aguanti. And it made me wonder, who could those be? But when we went through and looked at the Lost Book of Enki, they made it very clear in that book that the original settlers from Nibiru who came, the initial party was Alalu, and of course he got exiled to Mars and he died on Mars and all of that. But afterwards, when they were wanting to find out about the gold and mining the gold and all of that, Enki, Enlil, Ninmah, and Ningishzida, Thoth, were in some of the first 4 that actually came. They were the 4 that were in charge. And of course, they had other workers and miners, and Enki had his lieutenants and all of those that came with. But as far as the Atlanteans that came from Nibiru, the Elohim, those who from heaven to earth came, Thoth was in that group because Thoth is Enki's son. And that took me to John chapter 3, verse 16. Again, it's blowing my mind, because as I was raised Christian, and again, I don't know, we all come from different places, but I'm not picking out Christianity. I'm just more familiar with the Christian text than I am the Torah or the Quran. So that's what I'm looking at. But truthfully, all 3 of the Abrahamic religions acknowledge the presence of Yeshua HaMashiach. But whether he was a prophet or whether he was a son of God and all that, to me, is completely immaterial. I'm looking at it now, trying to understand from an academic standpoint, because if the texts that are the older texts that were used to compile the Bible text, these are an amalgamation, and it's I don't want to call them a plagiarization, but in some cases they were directly taken and plagiarized from much more ancient texts. But the Bible was comprised of all of these older books. But if we go back to the older texts and get further context on them, we can kind of see who some of these key players in the Bible actually may have been. In John chapter 3, verse 16, it says, I think we started at 15. No, 16 is right. For God so loved the world, or the Elohim so loved the world, that he gave his only son, that whosoever believe like him should not perish, but have eternal life. For God did not send his son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. And that's exactly what Thoth was asking to do. And all through the book of John, it struck me recently, and that's one of the things that I was discussing earlier on in those texts. Yeshua kept saying, "Who do you think I am?" And they thought he might be Moses. They thought he might be Enoch. They thought he might be Elijah. And he kept telling them, "I'm not from here. You don't know my Father. You worship your father, the devil. You do not know my Father." It's all over John. So if he was busy pointing them to a different Elohim, who was the other main Elohim that was here if it wasn't Enlil Yahweh? Enki. So whether he was Enki's direct flesh and blood son, or whether he was his son because he was the second born incarnation or iteration of Thoth, same difference, because it genuinely looks like that's what he was pointing to. He had very much so the things that he was teaching were in many instances directly quoting from those ancient texts. He was quoting from the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. He was quoting from the Lost Book of Enki. And considering the fact that the Lost Book of Enki stayed lost for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, it was never widely circulated. According to that book itself, when Enki scribed it, he knew it wasn't going to be found for many thousands of years. It was designed so that hopefully whoever found it would be able to get more insight on the truth and what went down with the whole Yahweh agenda and what was really happening here, and basically the existential crisis that they had, because he knew that what they dared, excuse me, I gotta clean my glasses, they dared to come here and play God. And he knew that morally there was a question whether it was ethically right to do so, but they were desperate and they did it. And Yahweh wanted humanity destroyed after they got what they needed. They got their gold and fixed their planet, and Yahweh said, "I'm ready. Let's pack it up, let them go home." That's why when the flood happened, he was angry when he found out that Enki had helped Noah, Ziazudra, survive the flood. Yahweh did not want that. That's what is so ironic to me. Again, not bashing Christianity or any of the religions over the other, because truthfully, they're all in the same basket. But I find it highly ironic that all three of the major religions on this planet, between those three religions, 3/4 of the earth subscribes to one of those religions. All of them, in one fashion or other, worship the very dragon that hates humanity and wanted us destroyed. That is the hugest irony of everything that we have else going on this planet. God doesn't, the one that we call God, don't love us at all. At all, at all. In none of the other information. The Bible is the only one of the ancient texts that attempts to color Yahweh in any kind of painting that says that that's even remotely suggests that he loves humanity. When he was Zeus, he ate his own children. As Yaldabaoth, he's a dragon that can't stand none of us. As Bacchus, he was basically just worried about revelry and all the rest of that. He's never had any iteration on any pantheon at any point in history on this planet where he had love for humanity, and yet humanity has ignored all the other Elohim so that they can bow to the dragon. It's so funny. Exactly. The Bible says the whole world is in the power of the wicked one. They put the truth in plain sight. And here's the thing, under Luciferian law, they have to tell us the truth in plain sight. But we're so bamboozled with the rest of the story that people are choosing to embrace the lie rather than the truth. And that's the thing that Thoth brought out, that he wanted to basically free humanity from, to help us be able to get over that hump and be able to see something. And hey, unique goddess, you know what? I see your comments and stuff all the time, sis. Thank you for joining me here. I was trying to figure out a good time. I'm going to try to make um, the Sundays lives. I'm going to try to make going live a thing, period. I want to start doing some morning lives with the tarot, but on Sundays we're gonna definitely have some. I love you too, sis. But yeah, I want to start doing some lives on Sunday so we can answer some questions and kind of talk about this kind of stuff as well. Again, next Sunday it will be earlier in the day than this, unless this is a good time for y'all. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask some questions as we go along and see. And I didn't want to harp on the Sunday school lesson, so to speak, for too long. But like I said, when we were talking about that whole thing about who the thrice born was, and with Hermes being the thrice born and Thoth being the firstborn, and my question was who was the second born, though. But I'm so convinced at this point that it's Yeshua that they'd have a hard time convincing me of anything else, especially since the fact that those are the two that I'm most clairaudiently linked with. And truthfully, when I asked for the ascended masters that were willing to work with me to come forward, Saint Germain became evident first, and then it was Yeshua. But Yeshua and Thoth were almost simultaneously. And I can't say that I really hear from Thoth per se. He's just always been on the forefront of my mind since I was a child. I've always been kind of fascinated by him, even when I was a little bit scared of him due to my Christian upbringing. But it is not really in my clairaudient conversations. There's not really a distinction between which one is which. It's simply because the information is the same. It's exactly the same. And the longer I dig into both of them, the more I see that they're the same. But in any event, I don't necessarily have to stay on that much longer. I am going to get into the Emerald Tablets a little bit further this evening. I was actually going to pull some cards here for the collective. Anybody up for that? Let me know if you're here. If you would like to, if you got a question, we can certainly look at a specific question, or I can just pull some cards for the collective and see what's going on. What's good? Or if there's any other questions or anything else we want to talk about, put that in the chat as well. We can certainly we can talk about it. Like I say, this is y'all's time. I'm just so happy about the 500. And again, thank you for each and every one of you that helped me reach that 500 mark. That's a huge milestone for me. And I am so looking forward to being able to start working on getting some things out for you all. I do not have, I still have to get the channel officially verified and all of that so that I can accept like super thanks and super chats. And truthfully, I may start opening up, like $10 mini reads or questions or something on the channel if that's something that interests you all. In the meantime, if you are, if you want to arrange a personal reading, you can find my link on Buy Me a Coffee. It is on the channel now in my about information. You can go there and you can email me at modernmysticmessages@gmail.com and let me know that you're interested in a reading or your questions or anything basically that you want to address there. But for right now, my payment gateway is Buy Me a Coffee, for whether it's just a love offering or support for the channel or paying for a reading. It would all be handled through Buy Me a Coffee. But yeah, let me get in here. We're gonna do a little bit of a reading for the collective here. Actually, since we've been talking about Yeshua and Thoth, I'm gonna pull. I had these decks over here that I wanted to pull from, and I'm gonna stick to what I'm supposed to do on that regard. I got a Christ consciousness deck over here, as well as the Egyptian decks, Egyptian Book of the Dead, and the Isis Oracle. So we're gonna go with that. And of course, I would like to call in our guides: Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Yeshua, Thoth, Saint Germain. Please be with me now as I go into this reading. I'm going to pull a little bit of the African goddesses and see if we can get a little bit of direction here. Oh, Sarah Kali jumped out the deck. Divine lineage. Hey. Well, I mean, again, I was, I ain't even, I'm not gonna lie. I see um, the tarot channels that like do really, really well, and especially the ones that do well in the live streams and the types of messages. And I know that the collective I'm being called to read for is not some of what a lot of the mainstream tarot calls for, because I'm reading for readers and shaman and teachers, even if they ain't quite there yet and don't know it. I'm seeing the messages I'm getting, so I know who I'm reading for. Y'all ain't no regular degulars. And look at here. Divine lineage and manifestation. Right here. Yeah, exactly. Let me tell you something. These cards, if spirit had not shown me how the tarot network actually works, I was coaxed into tarot over the period of a couple of years. I read for myself before I ever attempted to read for anyone else, even friends and family. Because when my clairaudience first started kicking in 2020, and I've told y'all those stories on the channel, I've had some incredible physical manifestations, birds dancing jigs, hawks coming down and brushing my leg. And the thing with the birds, Archangel Bokapi is all up in my grill. Every kind of bird you can imagine has been around me anywhere I go my entire life. I have all kinds of wild animal stories. Gophers. I can sit on the porch, big old porch out there, nothing going around, and the little chipmunks that are out here, they will come and run across my feet every time. They ain't scared of me. They don't climb up me or nothing, but they all of the open space, wide open spaces, and they'll come and literally walk across my feet. Hummingbirds come and hover around my face and all that weird stuff. So yeah, definitely of divine lineage. That's why I say I know I'm not a regular degular. I'm weird as can be. And I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. And I'm so happy to be reading for the other weird chosen ones, because here's the thing: we've been trying to fit in our whole lives because we were told we're supposed to. You ain't never gonna fit in because you were never meant to. You ain't regular. Stop fooling yourself. You ain't regular. Well, you know that, sis. The unique goddess. Yeah, exactly. And we got Majaji here with Sarah Lakali, divine lineage and manifestation right out the gate. Spirit is not playing. And I honestly think when it was time, yes, namaste to you too, sis. When it was time for me to start looking at tarot, like I said, I came from a very strict Christian lineage. So I was so nervous when the thought came to me clairaudiently to listen to a tarot reader. My very first reader I was led to was the Baron. And if you've never listened to him, he is a different reader. Like you ain't there. I have yet in 5 years of tarot to find a reader quite like him. He's very tapped in. He's very unique in what he does. But that brother he's something special. But I started listening to him, and then I went and I'm that type of person. I want to understand it for myself. So I got a couple tarot decks, and I think I got like one or two oracle decks, and that's what I rocked out with for like a year, just to kind of teach myself and understand what the cards were showing me. And then all of a sudden, I hit this boom and got an inspiration and started just collecting mad decks for myself. And then I reached a point where I was realized, oh my goodness, I got too many decks. There's no way in the world that I can just continue to read just for myself, because I done pretty much chewed the flavor out of that gum. Maybe I'm supposed to be reading for other people as well. And so, but I understand My guides, part of my spiritual team, is some of the baddest tarot readers that's ever been on this planet. I don't have to see them, I don't. I don't really see a whole lot clairvoyantly, but my clairaudience, sometimes I sit down around my cards and I just kind of let the decks pick themselves for me, whichever decks come to mind. But when they start coming out, when cards start coming out, they give me goosebumps. I'm like, yeah, they ain't playing with me. They show me what I need. So, and I guess it needed to be like that because I wasn't sure whether I was reading accurately or what, was I ready to read for other people and all that? Because I didn't sound like other readers. And they're like, you ain't supposed to. You. Each messenger is their own thing. And all you got to do is give the message, and the right ones will be led to them. Whoa. Let's see what we got over here. First card we have here is Bastet's Rejuvenation Guidance. In the middle of these rebirth, transition, transformation cycles, that's important. Allow yourself time for rest and relaxation. Engage in activities that help you recharge and rejuvenate. Prioritize self-care and ensure you have moments of leisure in your schedule. And then we've got Sobek's adaptability guidance. Be flexible in your approach to challenges, adapt to changing circumstances with ease, find alternative solutions, embrace spontaneity, and let go of rigid plans. Are somebody too much in their head? Probably, because I am too. Don't feel bad. Anubis's closure guidance is seek closure on unresolved issues, address any lingering problems or unfinished business. Taking action to resolve these matters will bring you peace and clarity. And then Sobek's balance guidance. Strive for balance in your daily life. Maintain your time and energy effectively to avoid burnout. Incorporate both work and relaxation into your routine for overall well-being. So get out of your head, chill a little bit. And I ain't saying you gotta be, because here's the thing, I understand, especially if we've been at this for a minute and you're right on the verge of something amazing, especially if you've been hearing from spirit and whatever it is so big, it's been taking years to get lined up. You had to heal and adapt and release a whole bunch of toxic people and then go back and heal again because you had to know how you felt about releasing them toxic people. And then, oops, by the way, there's some more toxic people you got. I mean, it's an ongoing kind of refining and weeding out and healing and refining and weeding out and healing. And as a result, that thing that spirit has put in your heart and in your mind, it's morphed and grown and changed and all of that, but it hadn't come to physical fruition yet. And we're on the are we there yet as far as the journey, but it ain't even about wondering are you there yet. It's like, good Lord, spirit, I'm just ready for something to happen. I'm ready to see this. I need something. Give me, give me something. I want something to come out of this. So I definitely understand that part of this waiting game and the transformation cycle. But and I think at that point, that's one of the things that tarot is helpful for, to continue to give us guidance and encouragement and help us to continue to tweak and refine and level up a little bit and continue to do that self work and yet still receive some love and encouragement from spirit while we're in that time of waiting. Because, yeah, I'm ready for mine too. Ooh, we got Sa here and Ankh and Ma'at. Whoa. Wow. Now, for this one, I do want to see and hear what the we got a 44 card and an 11 card here. That's pretty interesting. Sa is for authority, guidance, and strength. Sa was considered to be the father of the gods to the Egyptians. He was represented in the night sky by the constellation of Orion and the dog star Sirius. In some hieroglyphs, he is depicted as rowing across the night sky in a boat. When Sa is present in a reading, it speaks of an authority figure. This could be someone who has authority over you, such as a boss, or alternatively, it could also indicate that you are in a position of authority over others. Told you you ain't no regular degular. Mm-hmm. If the latter is the case, the card reminds you to wield your power lightly and with compassion. The Sa card suggests that it is time for you to examine your attitude toward authority. Are you someone who can easily take direction, or do you struggle to obey commands? This card can quite literally represent some kind of father figure in your life and encourages you to examine this relationship more closely. Any discord is likely to be due to your view of authority figures and how you choose to interact with them. Of course, some people misuse their power, so if you feel that this is the case, the Saw card is asking you to speak out about it, especially if the utterance card is present. Sometimes it's necessary to blow the whistle on those who misuse authority. I honestly feel like with this divine lineage and manifestation card coming out, and this advice to kind of chill and reflect and self-care and all that, I believe this is you. And I don't think it's somebody else on your fringes. That is you. 11. The Ankh card is immortality, opportunity, and protection. You will soon hold the key to your personal power, which can mean anything from a special talent you have to a new qualification. The meaning behind this card is clear. The way is open and you are free to forge ahead. Doors that have remained shut against you can now be opened, leading to new opportunities and new life experiences. Wow. As a symbol of protection, the Ankh card offers reassurance that you are safe to follow your dreams. Doors will swing wide and welcome for you, and new ventures are likely to be successful. Ah, Shay, yes, love that. Mm-mm-mm. And we have my aunt here, justice, truth, and balance. This is the card of justice and truth. My aunt's feather is the downfall of the sinful, and so this card appears when you feel the need, when you need to check in with yourself and your conscience. Have you been indulging in dishonest behavior or setting in a way that you know to be wrong or illegal, or do you know someone who has? If so, take this card as a signal to mend your ways before it's too late, because when my eye appears in the reading, it's a sure sign that the truth will soon come out. I also, as I was reading that, I keep hearing justice, just justice. This is your karmic, cosmic, what have you, justice. Hi, the Watcher. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah. So, how heavy is my heart? Is my conscience clear? Says, yeah. Listen to your heart. Now, we're going to jump in here a little bit with some tarot. Got the tarot of the Orishas, and then we're just going to clarify with the Rider Waite today. Look at here. That's my dude. Every time I handle this deck, when I start shuffling this deck, I don't care. Like, some of the readings, though, this deck has to be handled differently than other decks. And normally, there's like you certain readings you shuffle a certain amount of times, but it don't matter how many times I shuffle this deck. At least 50% of the time, this card will come out at me in the cut. Alegua be watching me like a hawk. Yeah. And I can deliberately hide it back in the reading. It'll come out again. It just will. Look, undercut again, and I definitely was not looking for it. Wow. Okay. Ooh. Wow. First card out here is the Ten of Water. That's a good sign. Hey, it's getting to be that time. Ooh, and Pombagira is here. We're going to lighten up and have some fun. Female SU. Yes. The Nine of Water is here as well. I'm not doing the traditional, excuse me, that the pyramids reading. I'm just pulling them today with the Six of Pentacles, the Six of Earth. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I do want to take a look at this because now we got female Eshu and Eshu here. So both iterations of Eshu. You're definitely standing at a crossroads in this transformation period, but Oshamari is here. But the enslaved prisoner is here, and this is different because I do not flip my decks in the reverse, but the Earth card came out here in reverse. I got to take a look at that. I needs to know. Inquiring minds like me want to know. Mm-mm. I don't do a whole lot of reversals, but like I say, everything else was right and it flipped out in reverse. So I really want to know. Okay, it talks about in the upright meaning is travels, changes in our body, operations or places of residence, home repairs, renovations, search for inner and outer beauty. And upside down is closed doors, roads full of difficulty and obstacles. Care to be should be taken when traveling. Aborted or complex moves, trouble in becoming pregnant or during pregnancy with possibility of miscarriage, hesitation and delays caused by you. Oh, that's what. Okay. Eshu is talking about crossroads, being free, having fun, all of that good stuff. Prosperity is here and all of that. But the last two that came out were this enslaved prisoner and this earth in reverse. So, again, it's all lining up for you. And Spirit is saying, yes, you got the green light, but something has had it held up for a time. They're acknowledging that for sure. Excuse me. Let me see. Uh-huh. Why is this deck? I'm gonna have to go back and fix this because this deck is all flipped around and I don't really like that. It's the two of air was also upside down. So it's something to do with a relationship and conflict. Somebody has been having some hater energy coming towards you, trying to interfere with this. Yup. It's gonna work itself out though. The Six of Water is here. And every time, no matter which deck it's in, to me, the Six of Cups always has a bit of relationship melancholy attached to it. Yes, it's family and it's nostalgia and everybody. I mean, it looks so sweet in the Rider Waite with the little girl and the little boy and the cup and the flowers. But there's a bit of the ties that bind and gag in that card. And I know it is because the guardian angel is here with you to assist. So that two of swords in the reverse tells me along with this five of fire there was something in the relationship arena, whether it's romantic or otherwise, that was causing you some kind of hitch in your giddy up. And truthfully, I think it's part of it. May not just be the relationship thing. I think it's all part and parcel of it. Look at here, the Baba Larisha is here. Your spiritual calling, excuse me, your spiritual calling requires you to be, well, number one, you had to be alone for a time. But even if, and especially if you were still needing and wanting and have called in love, the one you was trying to make it work with wasn't the one. And it's not saying that that person is evil. Every karmic isn't god awful evil. Oh my God. Sometimes they're just lessons that we need to learn, whether it's codependency or poverty, consciousness and lack, victim mentality. They may not be evil people, but they may not be the right people for us. They may be, and here's the thing, whether we want to admit it or not, they was the right people for us when we got with them because we were in a broken state too. We manifested that person to us from where we were when we first got with them. So it's not even a bad thing, but there comes a point in time when you start evolving, sometimes we got to let go and say hasta luego. Or sometimes it's just hasta la vista. I'm out. Sometimes it's hasta luego. You might be able to reach them back, but here's the thing: if the house is on fire and the occupants just won't leave, are you gonna stand there and burn up with them, or are you gonna come out and try to come back and get help for them? Sometimes that's all we can do. And seeing that you got this Majaji energy here with Sarah Lakali, and Ma'at is here with the Ankh, these doors are opening, and the Baba Orisha came out. You have a spiritual calling on your life that very few of the people in your previous life could come along with. I don't know if they was bad or not. That ain't even my concern at this point. They just did not ascend the way you ascended, and therefore they cannot come with the way you probably wanted them to. But no, they ain't. Your vision ain't their vision. Look at here, Zapana is with you, and the salamanders. Now the salamanders, Zapana is like health, wellness, and I think a little bit linked to the prosperity as well. But I want to see about these salamanders. And my throat has not bothered me all day, y'all. So I don't know who they don't want to hear this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Mm-hmm. It said this card may represent a man or woman in his or her 40s, which with much experience in life, who fights for ideals and who is a great thinker, strategist, army officer, or ruler. His or her will is strong, and he or she is dynamic and optimistic as well as realistic. When appearing with other cards that are unfavorable, it warns about psychological disorders, imbalance, and a slow metabolism. But it didn't appear with unfavorable cards. It came here with Zapana and the Baba Larisha. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. You might be feeling like, oh my God, it hasn't happened. I don't feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be in life, and why ain't I there yet? Like I say, I'm behind because you don't have the money that other folks in your age bracket may have, or you don't have the relationship that others in your age bracket may. It's because you've been held aside and preserved for something way bigger than what you thought. Whoa, look. Wow, the outcast was here on the top side of this flip, but the ones that actually flipped over, it's a 3-3 message. The three of water was here, and the three of swords was here, but it was in reverse. And again, I did not intentionally flip this deck in reverse. I've never done that, but I've got cards that are coming out in reverse. So we've got the couple, and it was kind of, well, no, the couple came out upright, but this three of swords came out in reverse. So let me see here. I do want to see what the couple in reverse would have been because it was kind of sort of sideways. Okay. Yeah, it was talking about, okay, wow. Okay, I get it. It didn't really flip out in reverse all the way. It was kind of so I was like, do I want to take it in the reverse or do I want to take it in the upright? Considering the Baba Orisha and the Zapana are here with the salamanders, I'm going to take it in the upright, but upside down, the couple would indicate a breakup, separation, or a serious crisis. So that could be kind of looking at releasing the old and the new coming in. So the couple could be here as a placeholder for two meanings, coming and going. Then we've got the three of cups, of course, which is usually that's good. It's celebration, and harvest and all that good stuff coming in. But the three of swords in the reverse. Let's see here. And I just want to look. I mean, I know what the three of swords means, but like I said, this deck is a little bit different in some of their meanings. So I definitely want to see what the book has to say. Yeah. Okay. Upright, it means danger, breakup, depredation, and separation, trouble and obstacles. In the reverse, the time of utter desperation is gone, maybe danger too, but the wounds will not be easily overcome. Tears will come again because of painful memories. Healing will be slow and difficult because your heart will have been torn out of your body. Which, I mean, and that's so weird because, well, yeah, no, yeah, in the Rider Waite, the Three of Swords upright basically means stick a fork in it, it's done. And I guess it still kind of does here too, but in that it gave a little bit greater context. So I do kind of understand why the lovers came out or the couple came out sideways now, because very likely you've had the painful route to walk before you can get to the joyful one. Now, I'm going to clarify some of these with the Rider Waite just to see kind of what other cards want to come out with that. And then we're going to take a look at a couple of Yeshua cards, as well as Christ consciousness cards, as well as Journey of Love. Since this couple theme is coming out here, I wasn't planning on doing a love reading. But honestly, this level of spirituality kind of calls for a counterpart. People don't even understand, but we're entering an era. I've been hearing so much about the rise of the divine feminine, and that is true. But the reason the divine feminine is rising because there is also a call for a return to sacred sexuality. Politics has been misused, religion has been misused, the economy has been misused, our family relationships have been misused, and yes, our physicality and intimacy has been seriously misused. We have all kinds of harmful programming on this planet that we're being called to break out of. And in this teaching capacity, this Baba Larisha, Zapana energy with the guardian angel and both the issues and all of that, it coming out here for you as you get through wherever this gateway that spirit is taking you through. The counterpart that you bring in, you're most likely going to be called in line to not only practice sacred sexuality but teach it. That energy is beautiful and nurturing, and it goes out and it expands and all that just from you being happy in your relationship. Absolutely. But the Baba Larisha is a holy man. That's a teacher. You're going to teach it too, because the world needs to know that. It's been blinded by unhealthy, look around. The world has become almost animalistic in the way that we deal with each other now. And it's time for us to get back to what it was supposed to be used for. That more conscientious, sacred love. What? Shut the front door. Look at here. The lovers, the sun, and justice. I would say go home. I am home, but you know what I mean. I really gotta go a whole lot further than that, but yeah, wow. And you saw me sitting here shuffling these cards, and that's what fell up out of that deck right out the gate. I'm not taking that Five of Pentacles. I refuse. I rebuke it because we didn't. I know. Look, we done dealt with Five of Pentacles for 4 days. I get it. Right there with y'all. I get it. But nah, we're done. We're done. Look, and we don't have to take it because guess what came out next? Oop, can't even see there. The star. Oh, let me cover her up because her naked. the Star, Strength, and the Four of Pentacles. Now, I get it. Everybody wants to look for the Ten of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups and all of that good stuff in the reading, but this is conserving your wealth. That Five of Pentacles nonsense that wanted to flip out, we've seen it for so long. So guess what? When we do this spiritual level up and get all of these goodies coming in, and like I said, it's right here. The way it fell, it's right here by Oshimari. So when that comes, we're going to have to learn how to conserve it and keep it a little close under our belt, especially if you're recently cutting some folks out of your life that you needed to, because trust and believe they're going to try to spin the block and sit at your table. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. They're not coming along with for a reason. And if you try to cast your pearls before the wrong swine, guess what? They're going to be taken back from you. It's part of the reason why we ain't got them yet, because we're too damn generous. That part. Always trying to help everybody, wanting to bring everybody along with. Some of them same folks that was bleeding you dry, you busy trying to figure out a way to help them. And Spirit is like, you better not. When you get this, they gonna have to go and find the help their own. And look at here. And I don't know about y'all, but for me, one of the main ones that I had to cut out of my life was right here, King of Wands, Leo energy. Now, if this is you and it ain't that you got to cut out Leo energy, that's all well and good, then don't. But it's interesting that came there like that. So, I don't know. Very often, because the King of Wands is so charismatic and all of that, it's very, you're going to have to keep it under your hat. Yes, indeed. We got the Seven of Swords popped out here. The King of Wands is so charismatic that he believes his own press and he just the cat's pajamas. And nope. Here we go again with this Six of Cups. I'm trying to tell you. Oh. Well, I guess what? If that's the case, my little music track been played out. It's almost time for me to go then, I would imagine. I'm having a good time here though with y'all. So I just want to finish. I'm going to finish this reading. Oh, yeah. Forget that King of Wands. You don't need him because we got an Emperor on the way. There we go. That's what I wanted to see right there. And here's the Empress right there. And the King of Swords right there. King of Swords, Knight of Swords, Queen of Swords, Seven of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. It's working its way out. Never fear. Never fear, never fear. Let's see. We're going to jump on in here and see what kind of message Yeshua got for us. And because there is a relationship element to this, I do want to see what Journey of Love has too. And I probably will pull a love reading a little bit later. I'm not going to try to tack it to this live because we're a little over an hour now, and I don't want it to stay, be so super long. I'm going to let you guys go, and I will pull some love cards for this though while I'm in this energy, but I'll do it as a pre-recorded reading and upload it. Wow. I'm just going to pull one of those. But it's a good one. Resurrection. Embrace new life. Let's see here. I should have pulled this book beforehand. And then we'll grab these. Ooh. Now this card don't even go with this deck, but it kind of, when I went to pick up the deck, it came along with, it says family. I'm excited about starting a family with you and creating new traditions. So somebody got an incoming that's going to be kind of yummy. Let's see. What's this? I think this is our card because I tapped it twice and it was still standing up. So that's what we're going to go with. We're going to pull one of each of these. And then we're going to shut it on down. So the first here is Resurrection, which is the 55 card. Embrace new life. Do you believe in fully living your life, seeing each day as a gift and precious beyond measure? This may seem an odd question for a card about resurrection since death is the factor preceding it, yet we can unconsciously operate and live as if we're already half dead, either willing to the years to go faster as a consequence of grief or unhealed trauma, waiting for something to happen first, then my life will really begin, quote unquote, or be on automatic pilot going through the motions with no awareness or presence. We can also fear death, scared of what is to come and not understanding that death is a natural part of nature's cycle and there can be nothing new without it. Fear denies the wonder of God's creation in all its forms and stops us from stepping into our dreams and welcoming new experiences, events, and people. We become reclusive, not wanting to venture into our fullest expression and journey while here, full of doubt, consequently thwarting growth and ending up living a lesser life. In many ways, we're more afraid to live than die. In the story of Lazarus, where Jesus raises a dead man from a tomb, it is interesting that the disciples first interpret that the man is simply sleeping, not dead. Although Jesus later confirms that he indeed died, the ambiguity of both sleep and death itself within the same passage is noteworthy. Actual death is merely stepping forward into another realm of existence, but we can waste time and sleepwalk through life, not caring to explore the meaning of life or the mysteries or creation and faith. However, walking in Christ consciousness is a chosen path by those who seek to grow, learn, and evolve, and ask that we not just celebrate our eternal life, but to enjoy the life we have now, to make the most of every day a blessing despite anything going on around us. Being alive and allowing the soul growth through every chapter, joyous and sad, is why we choose to incarnate and why we will likely do so again. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will not die. A clear teaching on the continuation of life, and that via embodying the qualities of love, grace, and all that he taught, the turning of the wheels between different planes of existence would be ensured. Knowing this gives us a bedrock of security, which can encourage us to want to do more, not wanting to waste a single moment, knowing we are always held. Rebirth and resurrection occur every day upon waking. We have a chance to start over, try again, and embrace what we can create, to turn challenges into triumph and sadness into reflection and eventually laughter, and to see how every part fits to bring about the tapestry of our lives. Today, sit and feel into what you're ready to let go of and what parts of your life are complete, giving thanks to all you learned. Pause, breathe, and take a moment to welcome in new energies that can transform and elevate your world, aspiring to live a full life made up of myriad moments. Know that your rebirth and resurrection are here, and a new chapter awaits for you to enter its pages. Have no fear, step into it fully, and as the stone rolls back from the tomb of where you have been, you feel the sunlight on your face. Love is here, new life is here, God is here within you, and you are free. Wow, that's beautiful. I don't think I've ever pulled that card before either. So, wow, congratulations, y'all. And then we have 43, the bride offers herself. There is a sacred offering taking place, an offering of the divine feminine. She is offering herself to the mystery unfolding. This may manifest in a physical way in that a woman of great feminine wisdom is offering herself to you in friendship, love, spiritual companionship, or service in some way. This may manifest in a spiritual gift from the Divine Mother in the form of a life circumstance or situation, whether it is immediately recognized as a gift or not. To accept this offering as a bridegroom, accepting his bride with love, reverence, and respect will bring good fortune. This oracle offers you a message. Accept what is being offered now, whether through challenge or an easing of the way forward. There is a gift of grace from the divine feminine reaching for you now. Allow her in and be blessed. This oracle also heralds a time of importance in relationship. You have been revealing yourself and not being afraid of who and what you are, sharing yourself in willingness to connect. Your vulnerability and beauty is acknowledged and will attract the response you need at the perfect time and in the perfect way. Every bride shall have her bridegroom. And the poetry that goes with this card, how careful we must be close. How careful we must be close. How fragile we must feel. How sad not to be when someone is real. To say approach it with caution when we already know that inside there's a likeness and experience goes slow. Wow. So you're on the path. I'm just like, I can't help it. I said those were the last ones, but that divine lineage and the manifestation card got me wanting to pull some of Maji's deck. If you know, you know. Love Maji got the tea. But this 144, yeah, this is for the chosen ones, this deck. So I definitely want to take a look here and see what we got coming out of it. Just a real quick one. Go through this deck and see what's what here. And then we'll go. Uh-oh. Well, those folks who was giving you flack, don't worry about it. Judgment Day for your enemy stood up out the deck. And yeah, there was some trauma there. We got it with that 5 of Wands scenario. And enemies came there. But like I said, Judgment Day for your enemies came there. But on the flip side, Wake Up is here. You were born to be a legend. There is some kind of hidden secrets coming to you, but like I said, that whole Baba Orisha energy and that spiritual path, there's gonna always be some hidden secrets. So yeah, we get that. And there's a waking up of your spiritual power, psychic powers, clairvoyance, clairaudience. They're very much going a ramping up of your clairs. So definitely be on the lookout for that. That's probably why that Bastet's rejuvenation guidance is there, to be mindful of the need for the periods of rest and rejuvenation. If you're being called to eat differently, to fast, maybe for sure getting in more water, more grounding, doing your breath work, all of those things just ease you through this transition period. Because like I say, we don't quite know when it's coming, but the more you release, the more you can receive. And it looks like what's coming in is pretty darn lovely. So definitely want to be on the lookout for that. I'm getting ready to scoot here unless we got some questions rolling in. I'm certainly willing to entertain any questions or pull a couple of quick cards for anyone if they're looking for that. Otherwise, I'm gonna give you a moment here. If you want to pull anything in, just type it in the chat. But I definitely appreciate all who joined me for this first live. I enjoyed it so much, and I'm so glad that you all came in to spend this time with me. I am going to start this upcoming week trying to get in earlier in the day. Probably, I'm guessing I'd like to live stream around 11 Eastern, I'm thinking. Maybe even earlier than that. Let me know in the comments after this post or in the chat, whichever it goes. Comment on the video after the fact if you have a specific time that you like to have taken into consideration. But I know that I would like to start coming on live at least 2 or 3 times a week earlier in the day as well, to kind of tap into a little bit different audience as well, and kind of get them a little bit familiar with our channel, so that as we go into further into these studies of the ancient texts, that even more people can get those messages, because it's super important for all of us. Well, I don't see any further comments, so I'm gonna say hasta luego till later. For we all again, thank you so much for joining me, folks. Take care. Oh, well, before I sign off, let me see what we got here. Oh, thank you so much, the unique goddess. You have a great day as well, sis. You are so very welcome. It is my pleasure. And again, peace and blessings to all of you. I love you so much. Until next time, namaste. I'm not even sure how to end it here. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Now I'm out.